מזמור לדוד. אדוני רואי לא אחסר. בנוטשה ירביצני על מי מנוחות ינחלני. נפשי שובב ינחני ומגלי צדק למען שמו. גם כי אלך בגיץ על מוות לא ירא רע כי אתה עמדי. שבטך ומשענתך המה ינחמוני. תערוך לפני שולחן נגד צורריי. דשנת ושמן ראשי כוסי רוויה. אך טוב וחסד ירדיפוני כל ימי חיי. ושבתי בבית אדוני לאורך ימים. Friends, I've chanted for you the words of our 23rd Psalm. And on these most difficult days, these times when we are in need of comfort and strength, we often turn to the psalmist. And so I invite you to recite these words with me. The Lord is my shepherd, I shall not want. He maketh me to lie down in green pastures. He leadeth me beside the still waters. He restoreth my soul. He guideth me in straight paths for his name's sake. Yea, though I walk through the valley of the shadow of death, I will fear no evil, for thou art with me. Thy rod and thy staff, they comfort me. Thou preparest a table before me in the presence of mine enemies. Thou hast anointed my head with oil. My cup runneth over. Surely goodness and mercy shall follow me all the days of my life, and I shall dwell in the house of the Lord forever. In the rising of the sun and in its going down, we will remember her. In the blowing of the wind and in the chill of winter, we will remember her. In the opening buds and in the rebirth of spring, we will remember her. In the blueness of sky and in the warmth of summer, we will remember her. In the rustling of leaves and in the beauty of autumn, we will remember her. In the beginning of the year and when it ends, we will remember her. When we are weary and in need of strength, we will remember her. And when we are lost and sick at heart, we will remember her. When we have joys we yearn to share, we will remember her. So long as we live, she too will live, for she is now a part of us as we remember Sophia Moldovansky. To her beloved husband of nearly 50 years, to you, Anatoly, and to her daughters, Polly and Renee, and also to Jonathan and David, and to her beautiful granddaughters, Michelle and Emily, to all the members of the family, and to so many dear and cherished friends. We've come together today to remember, but also to find the strength in celebrating the life of your beloved Sophia. Our sages in their wisdom have taught us that birth is a beginning and death a destination, and life is a journey from childhood to maturity, from youth to age, from innocence to awareness and ignorance to knowing, from foolishness to discretion and then, perhaps, to wisdom, from weakness to strength or strength to weakness and often back again, from health to sickness, and back we pray to health again. From offense to forgiveness, from loneliness to love, from joy to gratitude, from pain to compassion and grief to understanding, from fear to faith, from defeat to defeat to defeat, until looking backward or ahead, we see that victory lies not in some high place along the way, but in having made the journey stage by stage, a sacred pilgrimage. Birth is a beginning, and death a destination, and life is a journey, a sacred pilgrimage to life everlasting. Sophia was born in Odessa in 1947. She was the only child born to Mikhail and Shendel Berkowitz. Sophia had a happy childhood, and she grew up in a very loving home. She shared special relationships with both of her parents. She attended school and was an excellent student. Upon graduating from high school, Sophia went on to attend a college in Odessa that specialized in dentistry. And after completing her college courses successfully, she began her dental practice. Now, Sophia had a girlfriend while attending dental school, and this particular friend had attended a high school, and Anatoly Moldovansky was one of her classmates. For some reason, this friend felt that Sophia and Anatoly should meet, and so they were fixed up. Now, Anatoly, it only took a few dates, a few meetings for each of you to realize that the two of you were meant to be, what we might call in Yiddish, beshert. You were the one meant for each other. And Anatoly, you explained to me yesterday when we met, 2 days ago rather, when we talked, you said that it was just a year later after that first meeting that you and your beloved Sophia were married. Your wedding was on July 26, 1969, and this coming July would have marked your 50th wedding anniversary. The following year, you and Sophia welcomed Polly into your world, and Sophia was really a trailblazer. Because before it was the norm, before it was common, Sophia was a working mom. She balanced motherhood and a career. And Anatoly, you saw in this wife, this woman, this special, special person, you saw in Sophia a strong woman who was, as you described to me, and I'm quoting you, always in the driver's seat. She was always in control, and she was always independent. In 1978, Sophia, Anatoly, and Polly made their way to the United States, to Cleveland, with their dear friends Reza and Gary Konstantinovsky as their sponsors. The Moldovanskys made their first home in Cleveland Heights and then finally settled in South Euclid. And then in 1978, Renee joined the family, completing the beautiful Moldovansky family portrait. As a dedicated wife and mother, Sophia continued her work as a dental assistant. She attended Case Western Reserve University, where she earned yet another degree, and this was to be able to work as an expanded function dental assistant. Sophia worked with Dr. Stuart Katz for 30 years until the time of her retirement. Anatoly, when the two of you were not working, you found time to enjoy each other and, of course, your family. And you both loved to travel. There were the many trips to Florida and cruises to the Caribbean and Europe, oftentimes with your dear friends Marina and Val Konstantinovsky. And, of course, there was Sophia's last big trip, visiting the land of Israel. This trip was always so important to her. It was important for her to make the journey and to visit the Holy Land. And here in Cleveland, Anatoly, you and Sophia, you enjoyed your friends, and you came to Cleveland with friends waiting for you, but once you settled here, there were all the new friends that you made. Sophia loved to welcome friends and family to her home. She loved to entertain. And if she knew that you had a favorite food, and perhaps one of you here today know what I'm talking about. If you had a favorite food and she knew you were coming to the house, that food would be there. She wanted to make sure that everyone would be happy, and she loved when you would come over. No matter what time of day, if you were to drop by the house unannounced, Sophia always was ready to fix that visitor breakfast, lunch, and/or dinner. She was an excellent baker and a wonderful cook, and she was generous with food and beverages, but she was also so generous with her heart. She kept a beautiful home, and her plants were her pride and joy. Sophia's home was a bit of a Garden of Eden, as she cared for more than 50 plants, all of them beautiful and thriving. And when I sat with her family just a couple days ago, they told me she would go to Trader Joe's, she would see an orchid. You know, they already have those potted orchids. She'd see one that was absolutely dead or dying, and she'd buy the orchid and bring it home and bring it back to life. She just had a special knack for this. Anatoly, your wife, your sweetheart, was an amazing woman. She was intelligent, she was strong, independent, but also fun-spirited. And she had nerves of steel. The family explained to me that in the former Soviet Union, they did not have the same medications that dentists might use today. And so for somebody not only to be the patient without the proper anesthesia, but for somebody to be the dentist and have to perform certain things on the patient without the patient having any kind of pain management, this took somebody who had a special kind of strength, an inner strength. And you said she had this kind of strength, nerves of steel. She was not afraid to go after things, especially if they were difficult things. Sophia was outgoing, organized, and always a warm and welcoming person. And Anatoly, you really summed it all up when you said so simply and in a straightforward way, she was my best friend. And this is what she was to you, but this is what you were to her as well. A best friend. Anatoly, all that she was to you, she was this and even more to your beautiful daughters. She taught them and shared with them her very best qualities. Sophia taught Polly and Renee to be independent, strong women. And Polly and Renee both remember a mom who was a great role model, a true feminist, progressive, and one who always valued education. Polly, you shared a sweet memory that when you were a little girl, your mom wore this cologne. It was called Climat, and we don't think it's made anymore. But it said that your sense of smell is the strongest smell. It's the one that can transport you back to a time and a place. And as a little girl, you just remember your mom having this beautiful aroma about her. But in your adult years, you remember a mom who was always supportive of your goals and your dreams. You remember a mom who was never judgmental, and a mom who taught you, I know there's a Russian saying, in Odessa, there was a special saying, maybe you'll teach it to me later, but it basically means get out there and kick some butt. And this is what your mom would tell you, and this is what she taught you. She was loving, but also a no-nonsense woman. And Renee, you described to me a mom who was generous with you and with your sister, but also who was generous with all of your friends. Renee, you remembered that your friends would love to come over to your home and spend time, not just with you, but with your mom. They loved being with your mom. She was caring and kind. She was a good listener. Your mom was the one, Renee, who taught you, as you said, how to craft an argument. She taught you the value of quality television programming. And, for better or for worse, Renee, she was the one who taught you your wide variety of swear words. Polly and Renee, you remembered a mom who was lots of fun, but also one tough cookie. You also knew a mom to be one who would give back to her community. Just as she and your father and Polly, who was so little at the time, just as you all were welcomed into this community here in Cleveland, this Jewish community, Your mom wanted to give back, and so each year on Super Sunday, she would be making calls for Federation. It was important to her, and a tradition that your father continued with when your mother could no longer do so. Now, something that the two of you girls knew, but your daughters, her granddaughters, did not know. Sophia owned a gun. Did you know that? And she thoroughly enjoyed going to the range to practice shooting. She worked long hours, but Fridays were her day off. And she and her friend Barb would spend their day off either going to Mario's spa and then to lunch, or going to the shooting range and out to lunch. And Sophia became quite good. There was a time when your mom had a particularly good day, and she hit her target practice silhouette right between the eyes. And as the story goes, she brought that silhouette home and hung it in the garage where her husband, your dad, could see it every day. Not as a warning, but maybe as a warning. But with all her amazing skills and talents, and they were wide-ranging skills, with all that she had to offer the world, it was for you two girls and your dad that she was most wonderful and magnificent. Not just your mother, but a best friend to both of you. I think we all know, though, that the most precious gems in Sophia's crown were her two granddaughters, Michelle and Emily. You girls know that she adored you. And you both have the sweetest memories. You remember Halloweens. Each year, when your grandmother would dress up in the Minnie Mouse costume that she made, she was the one who taught you how to properly carve a pumpkin. And every Friday noon was special time for the three of you. Your grandmother would pick you up at school at Hathaway Brown at 3:17 p.m. She'd take you to Papa John's, where you'd get a pizza or chicken nuggets, and then you'd bring that back to her home and enjoy the food with her. And girls, as your grandma entered into retirement, she became your personal Uber driver, taking you to all of your lessons, ice skating, horseback riding, tennis practices, and she'd come to every tennis match. She'd set up her chair, she'd cheer you on, and she'd bring snacks, not just for you, for everyone on the tennis team. They all knew her and loved her. And Emily and Michelle, you will forever be blessed with wonderful memories of the big family breakfasts that occurred every Sunday morning, always served on her very beautiful flowered pattern plates, and with always at least one or more of your favorite foods. And of course, girls, there were the many sleepovers at your grandparents' home, and the yearly winter break trips to Marco Island. Michelle and Emily, you looked forward each year to the 3 weeks you would spend with your grandparents in Florida. They'd rent a condo, and your grandmother would pack an extra suitcase filled with Russian foods and bagels and lox and cream cheese. God forbid any of you should go hungry on the trip down there. But you would have the best times with them in Marco Island, and oftentimes your mom and your aunt would join in the fun. But it was really the two of you who had them all to yourself. Michelle, during your freshman year, you managed to enjoy some one-on-one time with your grandparents in Florida, and you described it as the absolute best time ever. And Emily, when you were much younger in 7th grade and your grandfather had a business trip to Hawaii, your grandmother took you along for this amazing adventure. Whether it was in Cleveland or Florida or anywhere else, the two of you certainly understand how very blessed you've been to have received so much love and attention from your grandparents, and how very lucky you are to be able to say that Sophia Moldovansky is your grandmother. Today, friends, we join as we speak the words of our sages in saying Zichrona Livracha. We pray that the memory of Sophia will always be our blessing. Amen. Friends, we have 2 guest speakers to share words with us. Our tradition has taught us that words which come from the heart often enter to the heart, and I know that their words will enter straight to our hearts. First, I want to call on a dear family friend, Joe Siegel.
short, very short. I'm not going to describe her life. Her life is basically a shining star, and we are basically a living example. Myself and all our families who actually arrived to the United States just because of her. She helped us walk, talk, act. She helped us tremendously, and she basically changed our life for good. And I mean, I don't want to just look for the words. This speech is very short. Just thank you for being in our lives. Thank you for all our families.
And friends, I'd just like to make one correction, although she assures me it's not important, but I didn't want to make Renee 3 years older than she was. She was not born in 1978. She was born in 1981. So, forgive me, Renee. Anatoly has some very special words he wants to share with all of you, so he's going to come join me now.
Sophia passed away Sunday afternoon. I still cannot believe it. She was my wife for almost 50 years. Together, we went through a number of events in our life, and one of the main ones was the immigration. That's kind of a difficult process. Many of you know that and went through the same thing. And then we came here and started a new life in a new country and tried to adjust and change many things. She, as you heard, she was always in the leading role since day one as we met. And she always had a plan and convinced me to follow the plan. And now I don't know what to do. So I'm sorry, I cannot talk anymore.
Anatoly, thank you for sharing your heart and your heartbreak with us. And I know that she was the one who made the plans and called the shots, and maybe you feel right now very lost, but I know you're surrounded right now in this room, and those who could not join us today, but I know in this room alone you're surrounded by so much love and by so many who care so greatly for you and your family. And I know they will be there for you to help and to plan and to once again find the laughter. Friends, we take a moment of silence now as we ask God to accept Sophia's soul. As you are able, I invite you to rise for our closing prayer, El Mole Rachamim. El Mole Rachamim, Shochen Bamromim, Hamsemenocha Nechona Tachat Kanfecha Shchina, B'malohut Kedoshim Utorim, Gezochar Arakiamas Yirim, Et Nihishmat Sonia Bat Michael V'Shendel, Shahalacha le'olama began eden techem menuchata. Anna b'harachamim astirecha b'seiter knafach le'olamim v'titror b'yitrorachayim et nishmata. Adonai hu nechalata b'tanuach b'shalom al mishkava v'nomar Amen. O merciful God, who dwells on high, who is full of compassion, grant perfect rest beneath the shelter of your divine presence among the holy and pure, who shine as the brightness of the firmament. To our dear departed Sophia Moldovansky, who has gone now to her eternal home, may Sophia's soul be bound up in the bonds of eternal life, and grant that her memory inspire all of us to noble and consecrated living. And to this we say, Amen. Please be seated. Friends, I want to share with you that our service will continue at the Bet Olam Cemetery. That is the cemetery located at the corner of Richmond and Chagrin. Immediately following the interment, the family will receive visitors at the Cleveland Racquet Club on Chagrin Boulevard until 9 p.m. this evening. Anyone who wishes to make a contribution in memory of Sophia, the family has asked that you might consider the Maltz Hospice Home, care of the Montefiore Foundation. On behalf of Anatoly and his entire family, we thank you for your love and your support on this important and sad day.